They said the sweetest palm wine in all of Obange came from one man, Obina, a humble tapster with hands steady as the morning dew, and a smile that made even strangers feel at home. But what they didn't know, what nobody knew, was that there was a reason Obina's wine tasted like happiness, and a reason people who drank it would wake up the next morning with memories missing, secrets leaking, and in some cases, lives falling apart. Because Obina was not an ordinary tapster. He was a man running from a past that refused to stay buried and hiding a gift he never asked for, a gift that turned into a curse the whole community would one day fear. Years before he became the smiling man with the calabash, Obina lost everything in one night. His father, his mother, his home, all consumed by a fire nobody could explain. Some said it was witchcraft, some said it was punishment, but Obina knew the truth and carried it like a stone in his chest. When he settled in Obange village, he tried to build a new life, a quiet life, a life far away from the shadow that had followed him since childhood. But shadows don't disappear. They wait, they whisper, they return. And the day he tapped the first palm tree in Obange, his curse woke up again. From that moment, anyone who tasted his palm wine began seeing strange visions, speaking truths they didn't mean to say, and revealing secrets they thought were locked forever. Some called it a miracle, some called it madness, but Obina knew exactly what it was. The curse was back, and this time it came hungry. This is the story of how a simple man's attempt to rebuild his life turned into the nightmare that nearly destroyed an entire village. Obina's first morning in Obange village was quiet. The sun stretched over the palm trees like it had all the time in the world. Children laughed by the stream, women carried firewood on their heads, and the market traders shouted prices for yams and gari. "Ah, this place no bad at all," Obina muttered to himself, wiping sweat from his brow. Maybe life would just begin again. He had nothing left from his past. No family, no home, no friends. Just a small sack of clothes, a rusty calabash, and memories that burnt like embers in his chest. He remembered the night fire swallowed everything. His parents' screams, the smoke curling like snakes into the sky, and the townsfolk who did nothing. Nothing at all. Obina spent weeks working odd jobs. He helped farmers carry their yams. He washed pots for the local eatery, and he collected palm nuts from the outskirts of the village. But the thing he loved most, the thing he felt drawn to like a moth to a flame, was tapping palm wine. There was something magical about climbing a palm tree, the wind brushing your face, the rhythmic sound of sap dripping into the calabash. Every drop felt like life itself, pure, sweet, and eternal. But one evening, while Obina was tapping from an old towering tree near the river, he noticed something strange. The wine in his calabash glowed faintly under the moonlight. He blinked, rubbed his eyes, and stared again. It wasn't just the moon reflecting the wine, it seemed alive. Obina hesitated, then lifted the calabash and drank. The taste was familiar, comforting, but also strange. His head span slightly, and suddenly he could hear whispers, not from people nearby, but inside his mind. "Truth, reveal, secrets, tell me what they hide," the whispers hissed. He staggered back, spilling out the wine, and the whispers stopped. Heart pounding, he laughed nervously. "Now wow, maybe hunger they make me see things," he muttered. The next day, Obina decided to sell his palm wine at the village market. He arranged his table near the center with his calabash polished to a shine. People came slowly at first, traders, women carrying baskets, a few curious men, drawn to the unusual golden color of his wine. One by one, they drank, and one by one, the whispers started. A trader confessed he had been stealing from his wife's savings. A young mother admitted she had lied about her child's sickness to get more money from neighbors. Even the village chief, a stern man who commanded fear, muttered secrets about debts and bribes he had hidden for years. Obina listened quietly, the weight of their confessions settling around him like smoke. He felt a strange thrill, but also a deep unease. This was power, and it was intoxicating. At night, Obina returned to the old palm tree. He stared at the glowing wine in the calabash and thought about his past. The fire, the loss, the betrayal of people he trusted, all of it had led him here. And now it felt like the spirits of the tree, or maybe the wine itself, were offering him something he had never asked for. Revenge, truth, control. But deep down, Obinna hesitated. If he used this gift, if he let it consume him, could he remain human? Could he remain the man who once laughed with the wind atop palm trees? Or would he become something else? Something the whole village would fear. The following days, more villagers came to taste Obinna's palm wine. Some came curious, some came skeptical, and some came because of the rumors spreading like wildfire. Obinna's wine did make people talk truth, they whispered. A small boy approached timidly, holding a chicken. Sir, I beg, my papa they always shout for mama, but mama never tell us why. He smiled politely and offered him a sip. And that night, he heard the boy's mother crying in secret, revealing the pain she had kept hidden for years. Obinna realized his power was not just for secrets or confessions. It touched every corner of a person's heart, and he began to understand just how much he could see, how much he could hear if he wanted. But with every confession, he felt a shadow growing inside him, something dark, patient, waiting. The whispers were louder now, more demanding, more insistent. Tap more, listen, know them all. Obinna shook his head, staring at the glowing calabash. He was beginning to understand. This was no ordinary gift. It was a curse, and the curse was hungry. And yet, in that moment, as the moonlight danced across the river and the village slept unaware, Obinna could not resist the pull. Not tonight. The wine called him. The whispers promised him everything he had ever lost. And Obinna was already starting to drink again.
Days passed, and the village of Obange began talking, not just about the taste of Obinna's palm wine, but about what it did to people. How your wine they make people talk true thing? A trader asked, eyes wide. Na magic or waiting? A woman whispered as she tucked her baby under her wrapper. Obinna noticed the glances, the nervous laughter, the half smiles people tried to hide. Some came excited, some came scared, but all came, drawn by the golden glow of his calabash. One evening, a respected elder came. His name was Chief Namdi, a man whose word was law in the village. But even he looked uneasy. Obinna, I beg, this wine of yours, people they confess secrets. Some I know even sabi. Waiting the inside them. Obinna smiled politely, holding his tongue. Now small palm wine now, Chief, no wahala, he said, but inside he felt a thrill he could not hide. The whispers from the calabash had returned, louder now, almost laughing with him. That evening, Obinna sat under the old palm tree, staring at the glowing wine. He thought of the small boy, of the young mother, of the chief. He realized the wine did more than reveal truth. It exposed pain, fear, and guilt. It gave him power, and it made him afraid. The next morning, the villager woke to strange events. A man who had been cheating his brother at the yam market confessed in front of everyone, falling to his knees. A woman accused her best friend of stealing her clothes, and the friend admitted instantly, face pale with shame. Even a respected herbalist, normally feared, revealed that he had secretly hoarded medicine for profit. The village buzzed with whispers. Now Obinna wine they do amo, waiting they happen. People began coming not just to drink, but to test him, to see if the stories were true. Obinna felt a dangerous excitement rise. With every confession, he felt closer to understanding the power of his wine. But there was a price. A shadow followed each sip. People left his table feeling lighter or broken. Some cried, some laughed nervously, some left in panic, clutching secrets they had never told anyone. And one night, a strange thing happened. A young man, drunk with courage, approached Obinna. His eyes were sharp, suspicious. I beg o, Obinna, waiting there inside this wine. I hear say if he make person tell true thing. Not true? He asked, voice trembling. Obinna hesitated. For the first time, he felt a sting of guilt. Yes, but now small sip for lesson only, he whispered. The young man laughed nervously and drank. And that night, he confessed things so dark, things that even Obinna had never imagined. The whispers laughed in Obinna's mind. Drink, learn. No! Obinna began to see a pattern. The more he served the wine, the more the village depended on him. People came to confess, to seek guidance, to test if the rumors were true. And every confession, Obinna felt a shift inside him. He began thinking, maybe he could control everything everything here. Maybe he could never be hurt again. But the gift, the curse, was changing him. He could no longer walk past someone without sensing their hidden fears. He could no longer smile without knowing someone's secret. And sometimes he felt the darkness whispering, asking for more. One evening, a woman came, old, frail, carrying a small bundle. She drank the wine, smiling weakly. But Obina noticed her hands shaking and her eyes widening in fear. Abego, no, no tell anyone, she muttered. Obina froze. For the first time, he realized that some secrets were not meant to be known. Some truths could destroy a person, and yet the whispers inside the wine, they demanded it. Days turned to weeks. Obina became more careful, but the villagers' confessions grew darker. People he had once respected were now bare and vulnerable before him. Some laughed nervously at their own admissions, others cried for forgiveness. And every night, the whispers came back, louder, hungrier. Tap more, give them more, let them fall. Obina shivered, feeling the weight of power. It was intoxicating, it was terrifying, and deep down, he knew he was only beginning to understand the cause. The golden palm wine glowed in his calabash. The village slept, and Obina sat alone, realizing the danger had only just begun because the curse was hungry, and Obina was about to feed it.
The village of Obange had changed, not overnight, but in weeks. The sweet sound of market chatter was replaced with whispers and nervous laughter. People glanced at each other suspiciously, afraid their secrets might slip. Even the children seemed quieter, sensing something unseen lurking in the shadows. And at the center of it all was Obina. He walked through the village, calabash in hand, feeling eyes on him. Some villagers bowed politely, others avoided him entirely. He realized they feared him, not just the man, but what he held. It had started as curiosity, a trader confessing a stolen yam, a mother revealing her hidden debt. But now, the wine had begun unraveling secrets that should never see daylight. Families argued in public. Friends turned against each other. Even the village chief looked wary, muttering in private meetings with no one else around. And still, the whispers inside the wine demanded more. Obina tried to resist. He reminded himself of the first night he tasted the glowing wine, the thrill that had coursed through his veins. He remembered the shadows of his past, the fire that took everything. I no go let this destroy me. I go control am, he muttered, gripping the calabash tightly. But control was slipping. That evening, a wealthy woman approached his table. Her eyes darted nervously, hands trembling. She drank slowly, almost fearing the taste, then she froze. She began confessing secrets so vile, so long hidden, that Obina's stomach churned. Betrayals, lies, hidden sins, everything spilled out. Her voice shook, tears streaming down her face. And as she wept, Obina felt the first pang of real fear. Some truths were too heavy for one person to bear. The next day, chaos spread. Villagers who had tasted the wine at the market were now accusing one another. Old grudges resurfaced. Families that had lived peacefully for generations began shouting in the streets. Obina tried to calm them, tried to apologize, tried to say it was just palm wine, but words could not undo what had been unleashed. And yet, the whispers inside the wine continued. Tap more, make them confess, see everything. Obina knew then that he had crossed the line. That night, he climbed the old palm tree, staring down at the village bathed in moonlight. He could hear everything, every secret, every lie, every hidden shame. It was like the village itself was bleeding truth, and he was the only one holding the calabash to catch it. And then he heard it, a knock on the tree stump below. A shadow moved. A figure stepped forward. A stranger, dressed in white, face hidden beneath a wide hat. "You've gone too far, Obina," the stranger said, voice calm but edged with danger. "The village suffers because of you. The wine, it is not yours to control." Obina froze. His hand shook. He wanted to deny it. He wanted to drink again, to feel the power. But deep down, he knew the stranger spoke the truth. Who are you?" Obina asked, voice trembling. The stranger lifted a hand, and the moonlight caught something shining inside a small bottle. "Some gifts are curses in disguise, and some curses demand a price. that even the strongest cannot pay. Obina looked at his calabash. He looked at the village. He saw the fear in the eyes of every person he had ever served. And he realized the whispers were not inside the wine alone. They were inside him. And just as he reached for the calabash, the stranger vanished, leaving only the moon, the trees, and the chilling silence. Obina stood alone. The village slept, and for the first time, he felt true dread, because he now understood some powers cannot be contained, and some secrets once revealed cannot be undone. The golden palm wine glowed faintly in his hands, and Obina knew the curse was far from over.